Miso, or Suzu-chan's brain. It's the story of an autistic girl whose curious behavior confuses other children at first.
Suzu is in class in her last year at nursery school, but she still cannot talk. She often flutters her hands and spins around and around. Her movements are a bit strange. Why is that?
Suzu is based on a real girl. Suzuno Takayama is 9 years old. Her mother, Minako, is the author of the picture book. Suzuno's disorder makes it difficult for her to express herself in words. The idea that eventually turned into the picture book came from the simple questions asked by the children at Suzuno's nursery school.
They asked me why Suzuno couldn't talk, why she couldn't put her shoes on by herself, even though she was old enough. They asked, why, but not in a spiteful way. I found they were just interested in her. This made me really happy.
Minako explained that Suzuno's brain works a little differently. Her behavior may seem a bit strange, but she can't help it. She says the children all understood. They began trying to come up with ways to include her daughter during playtime. To help them understand Suzuno's disorder, Minako created a series of picture boards. Minako was working for a publishing house at the time. She wrote the story and asked an illustrator she knew to draw the pictures. She footed the costs herself. Her goal was to show the other children that Suzuno's behavior comes from a functional difference in her brain.
Doctors say the center of Suzu's brain works a bit differently from other people's brains, so it sometimes gives the body different orders. When she was crying or angry, teachers patted her on the back, didn't they? Then her brain sends a message that things are okay.
Minako donated 10 copies of the story to other nursery schools and facilities. Word quickly spread about its touching message. And its reputation continued to grow through social media. Eventually, there was enough demand for it to be published as a book. 1 year later, Minako's book has given courage to many people facing different challenges. This is Keiko Otsu. Her son Shotaro has Mobius syndrome. It's a rare neurological disorder that causes facial paralysis. He can't change his expression.
A child, aged around 4, looked at my son and said, "His face is strange." That child apparently meant no offense and was just curious. But I was worried that my son would spend his days being told that kind of thing. My heart ached.
She used to be afraid of what other people thought, so she stopped taking her son outside. But one day, she came across Minako's book.
I thought, oh, so it is okay to do this. It's okay to truthfully tell others what disability my son has. The book showed me we could just be as we are.
It taught her to stop worrying, and she started taking Shotaro outside again. Now, if children ask her about her son's condition, she's happy to explain. Students at an elementary school filled out this questionnaire about children with disabilities. Many of the responses expressed fear and confusion. Minako was invited to the school in February. It doesn't have facilities for children who need special assistance, so most of the students have never met anyone with disabilities.
すずちゃんの脳みそ
ちゃんは脳みその真ん中辺が生まれた時からちょっとだけ違う。
Minako thinks most people are afraid of what they don't know. She says it's important for the children to have even a little understanding about disabilities.
心の病気のように思われがち。
People tend to think autism is a mental illness, but in fact it's a disorder from birth, in which the center of the brain doesn't give orders properly, like in this picture. I want everyone to know it's not something that can be dealt with by the child's own effort or attitude.
どうしてほしいと思いました。
変な子じゃなくて
They are not strange. I think they are sensitive to a lot of things, and that makes them behave differently.
みんなと違うけど
They're different, but I'll keep in mind that they're not troublemakers. They just have problems.
This spring, Susanoo entered the 4th grade.
はいおかえりはいおかえり
4 years ago, the children at Susanoo's nursery school showed the importance of asking why someone is different, and that being different is nothing to be ashamed of. The last page of the picture book. Suzu is surrounded by those friends who showed her so much understanding.
The book has also won fans in translation. This one in Chinese, released in Taiwan last December, has nearly sold out. The one in Korean was released in South Korea this March. We hear it's also doing well. So it does seem this story about a girl and her friends who come to understand her is about something many people can relate to.